Hey guys, we're live. Oh my gosh, this is a totally different style live, a different style video for my channel, but it is so important that we discuss this today. I know you guys are probably getting an ad, so I'll try not to say too much until you can click past that, hopefully. But thank you so much, Tiffany, first of all, for joining me today. For those of you guys that don't know, let me tell our chat and those that are watching in the replay just a little bit about you, Tiffany, and how I came across your channel. Tiffany has a YouTube channel. It's linked in the description. Just your name, Tiffany Rosenbaum, right?
Yes.
I'm saying that right?
Yep.
Okay. So she is a self-described part-time reseller, around 300-ish listings, you said?
Yeah, it's closer to 400 now, but
okay.
yeah, it's not
Gotcha.
a lot.
So part-time reseller, and shortly after, I recently made a video where I was discussing how Amazon bin stores have the potential to annihilate resellers if you're not careful, and why. And in the video, I showed you guys a lot of the fake stuff that I was seeing in these bins. And I know I got a little bit of flack from the community, like as if I was fear-mongering or creating some problem that wasn't there. But then overwhelmingly, people were like, thank you for bringing awareness about this. This is a true problem. I had people telling me that they bought out other resellers' eBay inventory because they were kicked off the platform for unknowingly selling fakes. Like, this isn't a problem that we are manufacturing. It's an actual problem that's happening. So shortly after I make that video, YouTube suggests to me a video that just went viral that Tiffany made. And the video is only like a couple weeks or a couple months old.
A couple weeks, maybe
okay,
two.
So yeah, 2 weeks old video. It's got like 20,000 views on it. Not typical of her channel. And guys, it is about her, I guess her experience with unknowingly listing an item that we're thinking could have been counterfeit. And as a result of that, being sued by a national, well-known household name company. So I just thought, man, I listened to her story, and I was just telling her, I had it playing in my car, and I was running errands that day, and I got to Walmart parking lot, and I was like, I have to comment and ask if she will come on the channel and talk to all of us about this. So I want to foremost be respectful of not only your time, but your experience today. And if you're named in a lawsuit, you're really putting yourself out there, the fact that you want to educate people. So I have to commend the fact that you're wanting to educate the reselling community. And if you guys appreciate that education, click in the describe, find her channel and subscribe to her, even as a thank you for doing this for us. But I don't want to talk about anything that you're not at liberty to discuss, because with any lawsuit, there's going to be a few things that she simply can't talk about. So if you have a question today, post it in the chat. And if it's something that can't be discussed, we'll just say that. And I agree to just move on, because I really want to be respectful. I appreciate what you're doing so much.
Well, thank you for having me on. I appreciate that. You know, I want to tell anybody that I can, and not only help them out, but just help the company get word out too, that this is something that can be counterfeited.
So a little bit about yourself as a reseller. You're a reseller to enable yourself to work from home and mom from home, right?
Yes.
Like so many of us, I just want to be able to spend more time with my kids. So let me pick up reselling, even if it's part-time, to be able to make more money and contribute to the family, right?
Yes.
And so here you are, just listing things to the tune of, at the time, around 300 listings in your eBay store.
It was probably less than that at the time, honestly, because it was like a year and a half ago.
What is typical, or was typical at the time for a listing for you? Like, I typically list vintage items and designer items. What would you typically list?
At that time, I was primarily sourcing and listing HBA, which is health and beauty. I would get mystery boxes. I did a lot of unboxing videos on my channel of the videos or the products that I was getting, like supplements, lotions, hair care products, that type of stuff. And that is what I would be listing. And the item that I got was a HBA item. And I used HBA because it sold quickly. And I thought it's safe, you know, like as long as I'm not selling expired items, it'd be safe. And I was wrong.
I do hear a lot about expiration dates being the biggest thing to check with HBA, because you hear, it seems like more and more when resellers are getting in trouble, it's HBA. It seems like 80% of the time. I'm throwing that number out there. That's not confirmed, guys, but it's a lot. It's HBA, and it'll either be expiration dates, or it'll be an item that is perfectly legal in the US, but not in other countries. Like, I think, is it capsaicin?
Melatonin is legal, not illegal, but
yeah,
is
no, you're right,
in Europe. So I had
Yes.
issues with that too.
So while you can sell melatonin here in the States, you may be set up for GSP or for any type of international sales on eBay or other platforms, and you're not allowed to sell it there. Or you may list a pocket knife that's perfectly legal here, or a pair of glasses that have a prescription lens. You cannot ship those overseas. So a lot of times there's things that we can list here, but the problem is when you sell them overseas, and HBA runs into that a lot. I've even seen sellers items be taken down. This might have happened to Lindy Glenn also, where the item was expired, and because they had an out of stock option, they still got in trouble even though the item was taken down.
Yes, I had a few instances where I got like a 3-day suspension because I didn't know an item was expired or something like that.
That's insane. I want to say hi real quickly to everyone that's in the chat. I do see you guys, and I appreciate you so much for being here. I wanted to highlight Carmen because she just popped in and said hi. And Carmen is a channel member here on the channel. Thank you so much, Carmen, and for everyone that that subscribes as a channel member. It's a huge benefit. To the channel, really, but it enables me to keep making videos like this. And because the time that you pour into a YouTube video, Tiffany, it takes a lot of time. And so doing things like being a channel member, like you guys are rock stars for helping the channel progress like that. So thank you so much, Carmen. But I'm glad that you guys are all here. Angelo says he has just subscribed to you. I appreciate you guys so much for subbing to her, because she's putting out educational content as well, and under the monetization threshold right now, but once she hits that, like, imagine she can start putting out even more really beneficial content. So here you are checking expiration dates, making sure that your HBA is good, and I would imagine that you're getting the HBA from wholesale liquidation type places.
Yes, I was.
Okay, so just probably a lot of the names that we all know of that people get wholesale HBA and wholesale products. So you listed an item, and did it sell?
It did. It sold in March, and I was notified of the lawsuit in August.
Wow. Oh my gosh. So immediately when you said that, everyone's thinking, oh, okay, I wasn't going to sell any more HBA hearing about this, but now I got to worry about the HBA I've sold in the last 6 months. Are you at liberty to tell what the item was that you listed?
Yes, and at first I didn't even know, like, the lawsuit didn't say what it was.
Get out of here.
No. So
you had to guess what the item was?
Yeah. So it was the company's Gillette Oral-B, but everything in the lawsuit said Gillette. So I thought, because I had some Gillette items listed. Well, I had some that I got from resale, but they weren't listed. They were still in my death pile. And so I thought it was a Gillette item. And I didn't realize it was an Oral-B item until I ended up speaking with their lawyer, and he told me, oh yeah, it was a toothbrush head, a replacement toothbrush head for like their electronic toothbrushes.
Wow.
And I had only sold one. So they went back and looked at the eBay sales history, and that's how they found out.
So a lot of us will list an item, and I've told people or had people tell me, and we talk in the community about, you can't list this, this, and this, but people will say, well, there were this many sold comps and this person was doing it. And I liken that to saying, oh, there were 12 people speeding. You didn't get all of them. Well, they're not going to get everybody. But in this case, they may be going back and retroactively getting a lot of those sellers that you copied the listing because you thought, well, they sold it. You may be following them behind bars unknowingly, you know what I mean? But in your instance, you get this Oral-B brush head. You think it's 100% legitimate because why would someone counterfeit a brush head?
Yeah, like I didn't, like, it's a brand that I know. I didn't know that people were counterfeiting something like that. And I just, I don't have all of the exact precise logos of every like little company memorized. So I seen it. It looked legit. I didn't think too much of it. I said, I know this brand. It's sealed. It looks good. I'm going to list it. And I think the sale price was like $16 or something like that.
You would have gladly given that $16 back to never have to deal with this. See, that's the thing. And that is what I touched on in my Amazon bins video, is that you're not putting, and I know this is unknowingly to you, but the people that knowingly will put their account at risk for these counterfeit products, you're not putting your account at risk to make $4,000, $5,000, $20,000. You're putting it at risk for a $4 item, a $10 item. And, you know, I am definitely of the mindset, I love to sell vintage. I love to sell designer. Those, designer is heavily counterfeited, but not so much a lot of vintage items, not the ones that I sell, you know, home decor and things. There are a lot that you need to look for. But I feel like a lot of sellers are calling it the safe bet to go to these, hey, it's brand new in a package. There's nothing that could be wrong with this. And obviously, brand new in the package didn't work out so well here. So you list this, you sell it. 6 months later, were you served with papers at your house? Could you talk a bit about what the lawsuit service looked like?
Sure. There wasn't really a service at all, if I can really say. I was having computer issues. I could not log into my email for like 6 months. I ended up getting a new computer. I couldn't log on my phone or my laptop. So I just started using a different email. I got a new computer for my birthday that year, which my birthday is August 4th. I found out the week of my birthday.
Aw.
And when I got my new computer, it let me access my email. So I log into my email and I have this email and it says something about a lawsuit or something like that. And I click on it and I had heard stories of people getting like threatening emails saying, if you don't, pull this item down, then you will get sued and stuff like that. So at first I didn't know if it was real. Because I always thought if you were getting served in a lawsuit, they had to, actually give the paper to you.
Yeah, by like a sheriff or something,
Yeah,
right?
I never got anything in the mail, not even ever once. So I didn't think that it was real, but I just, I did a little bit more digging, did some research, talked to people who had been to law school, and they told me, nope, this is in fact real, and they do not, in some states, I guess, have to give you an actual paper serving them or anything like that. And even though I did not see the initial emails, it counted against me because it was like I wasn't replying to them because I couldn't see it. I didn't know they had sent me 2 emails prior, but none of them were saying like, if you don't respond, then we will do this. It was, hey, you are part of a lawsuit, so here you go.
Were the emails part like were they sent through eBay, or was it just from some random company that could have very well been sent to spam?
Yes, it was actually sent by their lawyers. Gillette's lawyers contacted me.
This is an email I'm not even going to click on to open. If I see some
Right.
random thing, a random title, you're being sued, I'm like sending that to spam. That part alone is almost to me more terrifying than the risk of picking up an item that's unknowingly counterfeit. That is insane. And I wonder if it had anything to do with it being like an internet crime since the item was
Yeah.
sold online. Do you think that have you heard anything about why they were able to serve you through email?
I didn't really, I was a little freaked out by everything. I didn't really look into it so much as, people who, like I said, went to law school told me that they could. And I just kind of left it at that and focused on how do I get myself out of this?
That's a new age because, you know, I know a lot of us resellers, we're not, fresh out of high school. We are an older generation, an increasingly older generation of people that maybe even pursuing reselling as part of their retirement. And so you may not be super tech savvy. I don't check my email every day. I'm 37 and don't check my email. So someone may be retired, not checking their email every day, or be having that really old school mindset of, no, this would have to be served by a sheriff. Like, abandon that notion. More and more of our life is happening online. And I am just floored that you were served online in a way, I guess, because your email was linked to that eBay. That's the
Yes,
only
that's
email
what it
they
was.
had to serve you.
But the funny part was, like, in the initial like lawsuit documents, there was other people in the lawsuit. So there was maybe 20 or 30 defendants, and it would list information that they had about each defendant, and it had their suspected address. So they could have probably tried to send me something in the mail, but they didn't.
I wonder how this would have played out had you never seen the email and never
I'm a little
responded to it.
terrified to find out.
I mean, I suggest we could only speculate, but do you know, or are you allowed to say what the preferred, like what were they originally suing for? Were they suing for you to have your account suspended or for some type of a monetary recompensation for them?
I think the end goal for them was to honestly just shut down the people who were actually making the counterfeit products, because I know some of the people in the lawsuit were overseas.
Mm-hmm.
But they're also looking for sources
Gotcha.
of the people. So there were people in the lawsuit, from my understanding, that were small, like me, just sold 1 or 2 items. And then there were people who were like selling a bunch of them, because it was not just eBay, I should add. It was Amazon too. There were Amazon sellers in there too. I don't
Oh.
sell on Amazon, but it was eBay and Amazon, and they went off of the people's usernames. But from my understanding, what I was told, they were trying to shut down the people who were actually counterfeiting the products, because if somebody gets hurt using a toothbrush or something, they're not going to come after the people that they bought it from on eBay and Amazon. They're going to come after Gillette and Oral-B. And I believe that they were having issues with faulty products, and the people coming after them when they had nothing to do with it. And that's what they were trying to shut down.
That makes sense. And to be clear, Tiffany and I both really respect Gillette's position on this, because if you worked hard and you created a household name brand and you provided a good, honest, and safe product, if someone set out, to rip off your brand and to profit for that, you would probably want an end to that also. And it's not, because in my video, I talked about how Michael Kors, the company and not the designer, came after a lady who unknowingly received a counterfeit bag. She wasn't even selling it, and she was sued for thousands of dollars. That's crazy to me, but I also understand and respect, as an artist, not wanting your artwork ripped off. So it's crazy also that these products are so dangerous. This is a product that you would actually put into your mouth, and the fact that it is made under unsafe practices most likely could have, lead-based chemicals and
Oh
things. It
yeah.
puts us at a lot of risk, because had something happen, again, you bring up if someone had been injured, possibly, they would come after them, but you can rest assured that their very smart attorneys would probably also come after you.
Yeah. The attorneys would, but the actual end buyer probably not so much.
No. Yeah, that is crazy. So we'll go back to the story here. And if you guys have questions, I know you're all quiet right now. I probably scared you silent, and I'm sorry if we're scaring you. We don't. That is not the point or purpose here. This is education. You can still source these items. You can still, with the right knowledge and education, find these items. So if y'all have questions along the way, pop them down in the chat. But so you get served, you understand, okay, this is a real thing. This is actually happening. And so what do you do? Did you call an attorney?
I did. That was the first thing I did once I found out that it was real, because the first email I saw said that my funds were being frozen. And at that point in time, nothing was frozen. Nothing had happened when I first saw it. So I tried contacting several attorneys in my local area, ones that specialized in that, because their initial claim was that I was selling counterfeit items. And the lawyers that I reached out to, they were either like, even though their website said that they specialized in it, when I called them, they're like, well, we don't handle that type of stuff. Or they would say, well, we are not like licensed in the state that case was filed in, so we can't help you. So that was
Are
tough
you in
at
a
first.
very rural community?
I'm like a suburb of Chicago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I tried that. I ended up contacting somebody in the same state, and they even said, nope, well, we don't deal with that. So it was kind of a little bit hard to find somebody who was willing to help me, but I did end up coming across an attorney who did a free consult with me. I told her everything that was happened. I think I even forwarded her some of the information. And she, explained to me, these companies are looking for the people that are doing the actual crimes and knowingly doing it. They're not really looking to come after little fish like you. So I really do believe, she's like, I don't want to tie up your money and have you pay a bunch of lawyer fees, because I really do feel that if you just cooperate with them, you won't need any legal representation, and you'll be able to figure it out on your own. She
I'm
said,
just so
if you
shocked.
do need help, come to me, but try it first. So after I spoke with her, I did reach out to Gillette's attorney and said, okay, what do I need to do? Like, I'm willing to cooperate. I apologized to them for not, reaching out sooner. I explained to them I was having computer issues. I couldn't access my email. I wasn't trying to like blow this off or whatever. And I just asked them what they needed from me and I cooperated.
That is shocking to me that what a godsend that attorney told you, listen, I'm not trying to tie up your money. That is wonderful. And so that she felt like it's not legal advice, guys. We're not trying to give you any legal advice, but if I were in a similar situation, I enjoy, the fact that you said that they're probably not looking for you. You're in front of the target here. Yeah. You're just in between them and the target. And so it's likely that I might even have information that they would like to have to get to that target. That's probably more so why they want to speak to me. So the best information she gave you was to cooperate. And so your way to cooperate, you just start emailing back Gillette's attorneys?
Mm-hmm. I spoke with most of my contacts was just through Gillette's attorney. I do want to add that I think the very next day my funds were frozen, eBay, and it was like I've never been sued before this, so I didn't really know when the email said all of your funds, you can't use them. I thought that they meant like none of my family's money, and I was like freaking out. How am I going to pay the bills if I can't use any of my money? And
what
that
did
was
they
not
freeze?
What it was. I asked them. They were very upfront with me. I asked their lawyer, like, can I not use any of my money? And he said, no, you can still pay your bills. It's just your seller funds. So eBay put a hold. It's called an MC 999 on my account, saying that I was like the defendant in a lawsuit. And while it's under investigation, we have to put a hold on your funds. So eBay did put a hold on my seller funds. And then I just did what they said to do. It did take about 6 weeks, I think, from start to finish before I was dismissed and my funds were released.
So tell me, not to interrupt you, but I just have to ask a question about when eBay places the hold on your funds at this point. Tell me they finally reached out to you. Tell me eBay finally sent you an email.
No, never.
Get out of here. eBay knows that you're in a suit. They've now frozen your funds. There's more communication from this attorney than there is eBay. That is the most mind-blowing. I don't know. There's more and more mind-blowing the more layers that we pull back here. But how in the world has eBay still not reached out to you about this?
Well, the hold, so they released my funds, but the actual hold on my account, because the MC 999, it doesn't just freeze your funds. Like, that's part of it, but they also limit, because I could still list and I could still sell through this whole time, but I could not, put my funds into my bank account. So I was still listing, I was still selling, but they put a restriction on your account, so you can't list certain items. They don't tell you what the items are. They're just like, nope, you can't. So some of the things, if you watched my last video, I can't sell Nike. I cannot sell Nike at all on my account. I can't list it. I can't nothing. They don't tell you what it is. That part is still on my account. And I reached out and they said they can't remove that. So I'll go to list like a camera or something and it'll be like, no, you can't sell this because you were named a defendant in a case. Even though I'm dismissed, the case isn't any longer. The case wasn't even for an item that was similar to that item.
So anything that's high profile, there's a good possibility these could be counterfeit, basically, it sounds like. A couple questions real quick. Judy was asking, she came in late, what is it that you got in trouble for? It was a Gillette or Oral-B Gillette. So Oral-B toothbrush heads, Judy. And if you can, even if you don't have to say exactly where, can you give a description of how you got this item?
It was in a mystery box HBA lot. I've done a lot of similar unboxings on my channel and some of my past videos, so you guys can see. And I say, a lot of the companies that I got them from. So
check that out, guys.
And they were new items. So, but I believe that they were new liquidated items.
So the fact that it was new, this is my mom, by the way. So she's asking, how would you know if an item like this is counterfeit? I mean, Honestly, you might not, but if you really search on a product, do you think there was anything was part of it? Have you went back to review? Well, eBay probably doesn't even have the photos available, but I just wonder, was something fuzzy on it? Was the barcode a little wrong? Like sometimes you can look and you're thinking, no, this looks like it was copied onto someone's computer. Was there anything about it that set off a red flag?
Not to me. I know that, like, Gillette and Oral-B, they know their brands, they know their logos. So I think that there might have been something slightly off in the logo that ticked them off.
Hmm.
But me, just as a consumer at the end who, if it was my own product, I'd be able to say, hey, that's not what I made. But just being an end consumer, I didn't I super study the products. To me, it was, I also always thought that if somebody was going to sue you, it would be over, at least a couple $100s, not $16
Not a
sale.
$16 toothbrush head.
Yeah. So
And
it was not obvious to me at all. If it was, I wouldn't have listed it.
right, yes, such an excellent point. Yeah, if you had thought, then you wouldn't have put your account at risk and your family's time and energy and money. So like Anthony was asking, all of your funds, everything that you said, and meanwhile, you're still able to list. So I've got Soul says, so eBay still gets their fees. They're still pulling their seller fees out. Meanwhile, you don't get access to any money.
That is correct. And something that actually happened when I was in this, and it freaked me out. I thought that like Gillette was gonna like come at me for it. So all of my funds were frozen. I was told that I am not to use it, deposit it, transfer it, nothing. But I had somebody who was wanting to refund an item because it didn't come or it broke or something like that. And I was trying to explain to the buyer, like, my funds are on hold and I will gladly give you a refund, but I can't right now.
Oh
And she
no.
was being like, she was very lenient at first, but it kept going and going and going because I kept saying, okay, this should go real quick. This should go real quick. Everything will get signed off in a couple of days, but then weeks would go by and nothing was moving. So I kept telling her, okay, they say that I'm going to be able to. And I was trying not to give a lot of information to the buyer because I wasn't sure what I was even allowed to talk about. And eventually she put in a complaint or whatever. She opened a
Uh-huh.
case and eBay approved it in her favor and they released the funds to her out of my account. I got the ding
You
on my
did.
account because obviously it was
Mhm.
resolved without me doing anything, which I couldn't. But I was
Golly.
afraid that like Gillette would be able to see, okay, some of these funds were released to somebody else and she's not allowed to do that. So I messaged them and I told them like this is what happened and they didn't end up caring. Like, they never said anything back. But like eBay released the funds to refund somebody while they were held and I did kept was able to keep selling, but I couldn't access any of it. And I thought that they would like send me a letter or an email or something when the funds were released. And they never did. I just went in one day and it said that I could deposit my funds.
So
And I was
for
like,
6 weeks, you're making money for your family, but you can't use it. And in addition to that, it's going to be your own money on the table should anyone need a refund or a return or something.
yes, and the funny part too was eBay gave me the all clear to go and get her PayPal information to send her a refund on PayPal. And she never sent me her PayPal information.
You really
I
tried.
did. And I was like terrified because they say like you can't reach out on eBay to like get information. So I like got eBay's permission first before I even said, "Hey, give me your PayPal because then this is a way I can refund you without touching the funds that I'm not allowed to touch."
You seem like such a good seller that, I mean, you're really the ideal candidate. The fact that I'll tell you that I'm a little hot-headed, okay? And I don't know that I would have handled it with, so well composed as you were to just I always tell my kids, no one hears you when you're just shouting at them, okay? But it's a time when you want to stomp your feet and you want to shout. And what do you mean you're going to sue me and I didn't do anything wrong? And like that's why I asked you to come on here is to tell everyone like you cooperated with them, you submitted to them everything that they asked for, and that is how I'm sure you were able to be released. But it's just such a shame that you're still feeling the effects of it
Yeah.
on your account because now you have dings on your account. Your money was frozen for that long. I've got Soul ask, how did they prove that the item was counterfeit? Did they purchase it? And I'm thinking in a suit like this, the burden of proof is on you, not them. You would have had to prove it was real, correct?
I didn't consult like with an attorney that far, so I'm not really sure. For me, it never got taken to a courtroom. So for the others on the case, I'm not really sure. I do know that, like I said, going back, I think it was a logo thing because in the suit, like they had all of their trademarked logos and what they look like. I don't know if Gillette went to like a judge before when they got it signed off saying, hey, look at this picture. This is the logo, and look at these are trademark logos. They're not the same. They very well may have. Nobody, asked me, hey, prove that it was real or fake. And at the same time, I wasn't going to try and argue with anybody because I
How
couldn't
would you
prove
have been
that it
able
was
to?
real. It could, from where I got it, it could have very well been fake. I don't really know. And that's why I cooperated and gave them the information that they wanted to, because I couldn't prove it. I knew I couldn't prove it. And I just wanted to get myself out of the case because, like you said, it was very hard. My funds were tied up. My husband ended up having emergency surgery that same week and was out of work.
Goodness.
So it was a tough time. And then, of course, that was like the month that my sales were the highest they ever were on eBay, and I couldn't use any of the money.
And here you are chugging along. And I just feel like, first of all, I hope you never stop putting out videos, because I can say I can learn a lot from you because you seem to conduct yourself with such professionalism. The fact that this has not hindered you then nor now or in the future of pursuing reselling. There are people I guarantee you will watch this video and walk away from reselling. And I'm sorry, that is not our intent here. Our intent is only to educate you. So I want to, before you say reselling's not for me, I can't believe she had to deal with all this. What's your advice for this too shall pass? Like, get through this and reset. Why is reselling still such a passion for you?
Honestly, the reason that drew me into reselling is the flexibility. My husband's schedule is crazy. My daughter just turned 3 yesterday, and I need something that I could do that's not gonna, like, that can be mine and not make me go crazy, but that I can still dedicate my time to, but be able to be flexible enough to be here with her. And I see the potential in it, and I'm not going to say that it didn't mentally set me back a little bit, but I also learned a lesson from it, and I know definitely now I don't really sell HBA anymore. I don't buy HBA anymore. And like I said in my one of my videos, it's just I want to focus more on, like you said, the thrifted stuff, the stuff that maybe is antique, something that, or maybe like the second sale doctrine will protect you against.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, I'm just taking this all, like I'm soaking in what you're saying like a sponge, because I keep hearing a lot lately that when something goes wrong, it still taught you something. It's still, even if you have a video that fails, that still taught you the type of video not to make. You had a sale go bad, it taught you how not to do. And so I'm just imagining something this big that took so much, and the fact that you took it as a learning opportunity, like, girl, you're a rock star. I
Well, I
really
mean, I didn't
want to
make
learn.
videos for like a year because I was just like not into any of it, but
That's so it did take you a while to share this story. How has it, since you're so far removed, because this happened over a year ago now, but you're just now like really talking about it. How has it changed the way that you source? I know you said you're shying away from HBA. For people that are new to reselling, or who need to maybe change or reconsider their sourcing opportunities, how has it changed the way you source?
so I used to do liquidation boxes and mystery boxes all the time from wholesale companies. That was really for the first part of my channel, the premise of my videos. I did a lot of unboxing videos, and the issues that I had with the expired items, or my lawsuit, I don't buy liquidation anymore. I don't buy the mystery boxes anymore. I still go to my local bin store, but a lot of times I will buy stuff for personal use or stuff that I can flip locally. I won't sell it on eBay or platforms that I know, can get me into big, big trouble.
Mhm.
And I do a lot more yard saling or like the Goodwill bins, thrifting, where I feel the items are just a little bit safer.
That is just crazy. Baldy Pal is here, you guys. I'm live with him tonight. If you don't know, HBA is health and beauty aids. So we're talking like any supplements, vitamins, sunscreen, makeup, anything that could be used for health and beauty, toothbrushes, razors. So it doesn't have to be a consumable. A lot of times HBAs are consumables, so they come with expiration dates, but a lot of times they're not consumables. They may be toothbrushes and razors. That is the whole story, just blows me away. The main things being that they were able to serve you online. I can't believe eBay never notified you at all. They clearly knew you were named because it was reason for them to file. Can you give us, did you say N999?
MC999. And there was a video that I watched in the lawsuit. And that was another thing too. Another reason why I made a video is because when I was like trying to research it on how to handle it and what did other resellers do, there was not a lot of videos out there. There were two though that I watched, and one of them, I think I actually linked it in my video. I think it was Commonwealth Picker, I think. And he had the same thing on his account, but after pestering eBay for like a bunch of times, they finally removed it for him. But for me, like I'm such a smaller seller that it doesn't really bother me. Like I know that I can't sell Nike. That was one they always deny me on. So I just don't list Nike on eBay anymore. I list it on my other platforms. So
that blows me away. I've Got Soul says, I understand the corporation's position, but going after resellers is a way to get to scare people from selling your items on the secondary market. So sorry that this has happened to you, Tiffany. I think that is sometimes, not necessarily in this case, I think that is sometimes the goal. I know Allbirds, the shoes, while they did a lot of greenwashing and claiming to be so environmentally friendly, recently they went after resellers hardcore and filing Veros on anything and everything. And again, the burden of proof falling on the seller to say that that item was not counterfeited. And why do you think they wanted that? Because when people want a pair of Allbirds, they probably wanted you to come to them and not the secondary market. I can't say
like that too.
Yeah, I can't say that that's not the goal here. Do you think that it's becoming, while people are shopping more and more online, they're going more to eBay, Mercari, Poshmark? Do you think that these companies want you to come to them instead?
Probably. I mean, I think so. I mean, I honestly got to say that even though if I were to go and like score some huge clearance Gillette, at Walmart or something, and I know for a fact it's real, I still ain't listing it on eBay now or anywhere because, I mean, not worth it.
Yeah,
But,
because I think the burden of proof would fall on you, and knowing that you've already been reprimanded for this, there's not a chance they wouldn't just shut your account down.
Yeah, I'm lucky I didn't lose my account. I mean,
you're right.
I could have. I very well could have.
I agree with you. This very well could have went a different direction. I mean, you are definitely under a suspended account of sorts now. A lot of sellers will have a second account, be it under a spouse's name or under a different email address or something, in case something like this were to happen and they totally lose their account. They have another account that they're able to list on, or even if your account is suspended. One of the things that I really took note of, though, was I know people who have gotten in trouble and they're not able to sell anything or list anything during their suspension time. The thing they got in trouble for was maybe a worse offense than what you did, and the fact that you were able to still make them money while you were suspended just really is eye-opening to me. Let's see here. Rachel does videos on how to tell counterfeit purses. Is there any way that you can tell counterfeit things like this, or is it just the trademarks? Again, I really think it's always going to be a roll of the dice. You need to consider your source, where you got the item. And perhaps if you do retail arbitrage, like Tiffany, you were just saying, even if you found a great deal on, at Walmart or something, keep the receipts.
Yeah.
I know when Chris Daily Refinement got in all of his trouble, that was one thing that they were asking for, was a proof of purchase. They wanted to see a point of purchase of some sort. I'm not saying that, whether or not that could or could get, help someone get out of trouble like this, but I think it couldn't hurt. If you do retail arbitrage, you probably are keeping those receipts for tax purposes anyway. Not to say that they're not going to come after you, though. I mean,
Yeah, well, and I was just watching a video from Daily Refinement yesterday, and it was about him trying to flip Patagonia items. He was buying them from a legitimate Patagonia store that were on clearance, and they told him, if you buy these and resell them, you're banned forever from all of our stores. So, like, there's other issues too that you could get hit with. It's not just.
There are so many times when people will say that reselling and YouTube help each other. And they will say, well, you only are able to sell so much because you have a YouTube channel. And if everyone knew the ways that you hurt yourself, because the first thing you want to do is tell your friends online about the great deal that you got. And it puts a target on your back sometimes. I mean, if he's reselling at a high volume and if he even talked about it anywhere, then that very well could have put a target on him. That's the whole situation is absolutely nuts, but I'm so glad that it hasn't hindered you wanting to resell, and that you're still doing well. Have you found new niches that you just love outside of HBA? You said more vintage now, right?
Not necessarily. I mean, I do some vintage, but I'm noticing that I prefer a lot of used shoes.
Oh, okay.
I like shoes, baby shoes, other kinds of just used shoes. So that seems to be kind of where I'm falling, or like baby toys and stuff like that. But I
Yeah.
sell like a little bit of everything, but not really so much any new items.
In the world of baby toys, it makes me think like the other day I listed some Mamaroo things and I had to be careful because the particular swing that I was listing, I noticed that there's a recall on it. And with kids toys, that's a completely separate facet that it's like, as a seller, you already wear enough hats as the sourcer, the lister, the cleaner and prepper and photographer, you're the shipper, but now you also need to be your own attorney, it seems like.
Yes. And
You
you
have
never
to be
know, like you were talking about the global shipping, like you don't know what's legal and not legal in all these other countries. And you would think that eBay would help you out and tell you, no, you can't list this. It's illegal here. Turn your GSP off. But they don't.
and that's
They'll just
exactly what
smack you
Anthony
on the
just
hand when you
said.
do it.
Yeah, Anthony C was in the chat earlier saying, "Why will eBay not flag an item and say turn off GSP, or we have turned off GSP for this item?" That because it's not like you can get special permissions. I know at one point, I think it was shipping to Germany that was an issue, and they were telling everyone, "We're going to leave everyone's on because you may have special permission." But there are plenty of items that you're never going to have special permission to sell melatonin to the UK. So why not turn it off?
And
That's
they open
crazy.
all the items anyway before they ship it out. So you would think that, like, I mean, they flag them, they open them, they'll tell you, okay, well, you can't send this. But so why do sometimes you get like a suspension and other times they're like, nope, we're just not going to forward this on?
They could automate that process and through their algorithm find it and not have to pay a person an hourly rate to open those packages and then
Right?
also auction them off to the highest bidder because that's what they do with them.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they actually auction those items and they'll provide you with the original listing photos. I think, wasn't it Scott Ching King had a knife and he found that out that way because he's like, why did my knife was sold, then it couldn't ship GSP, and now someone's using my listing photos. And meanwhile, I think he had multiples of it, so it was copied directly off of his
Oh my
listing.
God.
And he come to find out discovered that the items, when they can't continue their journey on GSP, they actually get intercepted and auctioned off as if they're
Wow.
lost mail. Yeah, that's
Crazy.
really wild. Yeah, you guys let me know if you have more questions for Tiffany. I know Christy, Mom's Closets Texas, has dropped her link several times, and you guys,
Thank
that is,
you.
it's just always the biggest support on YouTube. Like someone's video, share it, watch it. The entire video where she talks about every detail of this case is on her channel. It's to her next to last video. You can watch the entire thing. It's listenable. It's a talking head video. You can put it on when you're in the car. That's what I did. Because we need to figure out what all we can learn from this, since she learned so much. The benefit of the reselling community is not only to have coworkers and to have people to hang out with, it's to learn from each other's mistakes.
I'd like
Which,
to add, oh, sorry.
no, go
Um,
ahead.
Somebody reached out to me that made a Facebook group called Vero Heroes. And he is making a website and everything because, eBay has their Vero list. Gillette is not on the Vero list. And a lot of times, people will think, okay, this is my only resource to go to. But in this group, they actually talk about items that people specifically have been gotten Veros for, been sued for, gotten in
Wow.
trouble for selling. And it's a lot more interactive and actually tells you actual cases and actual instances. So it's a much better resource than just your typical Vero list, because half the times the people on the Vero list don't actually do anything if you sell their products. But then you've got people like Gillette who, you know, they're very strict and they are not featured on the Vero list. So you might think, oh, they're not on the Vero list, I should be okay to sell this. And it's not that I think that Gillette is gonna, you know, go after anybody who is selling their products, because obviously there's thousands and thousands of Gillette and Oral-B items listed. It's the counterfeit ones that they were looking for, but in any Vero type of situation. So if you guys are interested, the Facebook group is called Vero Heroes, and he has a website too that he's making to help other resellers out.
That is awesome. I need to get that link and put it in the description of this video. So if it's not in the description yet, it will be soon, you guys. But Vero Heroes, that is, because there are a lot of items that people think you just can't list. For instance, Post-it notes, and like that's not true. It's a Vero because people will post any sticky note. Like I have a stack of sticky notes here. These are sticky notes. They're not Post-it brand, and we want to say Post-it for everything that's a sticky note, and that's how you get a Vero. Or we want to call every hook and loop closure Velcro, and it's not. Or every building block a Lego. That's not to say you can't sell those items. Yeah. It's just every purse isn't a Coach. Can you imagine any other brand us just doing that with it? So I love what you're saying, because it's not, I mean, for a brand new seller, it's great to have your radar out for these brands. But what the true educational value is knowing why you can't list certain things and what you did wrong. And yeah,
you can't learn from it if you don't know.
No, you're so well spoken and composed in the way that you're presenting this information. I think everyone that's watching this is learning something. Oh yeah, Courtney Bolo Buddies does Do Not Sell videos too. She's a great resource for Veros as well. Christy says, I got an item pulled down because the product wasn't allowed to be sold in certain countries, but I offered international shipping. I think it was Polaroid film, but why don't they stop you before listing? Yeah, exactly what we're talking about. Why isn't there something in the algorithm that filters that? Did you guys know Disney isn't allowed in certain countries?
I didn't.
I mean, well, Bibles are illegal, and I think it's still like 52 countries of the world. So I don't know. Could you even sell that internationally in some areas? You might not be able to. Yeah, it hasn't posted since August. Oh, on the Vero Heroes. I hope that they revitalize that group.
Yeah, he actually, maybe they made a second one. I know there was not many members in it, but he contacted me specifically, and he posted in it just a couple days ago because he tagged me in it and everything. So maybe he's looking at the old one.
Yeah.
I know he was in the middle of revamping it.
Okay, send me a link to something later and we'll get it in the description of this video, guys. Also, we'll track it down that group because I think that's a great resource for people. I'm not on Facebook personally, and more I hear about these great groups and interactive communities on Facebook for resellers, so I really need to look into it more. DePage Picker says jarts and caps for cap guns have been issues for me.
Or they have those Christmas lights that have like liquid in them. I can't think of what they're called, but
you know, I feel personally responsible for getting those taken down. I'm just going to put it out there because they have methylene chloride in them. And I had no idea until I busted one and called poison control at the urging of my oldest son. And I was like, there's nothing wrong with these. Yes, there is. And then I made a short about it and I put it on YouTube and I put it on Instagram. And shortly after, it becomes an unsafe product and none of us are allowed to list it. And I'm like, we've been listing these for decades. Did I get these bubble lights restricted? Maybe I didn't.
They're called bubble lights.
I just Coco and Chewy, same thing happened to me. It was a really cool knife, and because I had international shipping picked, they took it out. It couldn't be sold in Europe. So interesting. I can't log in on my Facebook. Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll research it. I appreciate you finding any links, Christy. You're a rock star. Gillette didn't go after eBay. Oh, or did they? Do you know, or can you say if eBay was named in the suit as well, or Amazon, since they were both the marketplaces?
I don't think that they got in trouble.
Isn't
Maybe
that
if they
insane?
did, they were in a separate lawsuit, because I know in my lawsuit it was just like individual users.
Huh. Well,
But
I do keep saying, how
they
are these
did. I
people
don't
getting away
know.
with this on Amazon? How do they get away with it? And so guys, maybe they're not getting away with it. Maybe there are behind the scenes hundreds of these lawsuits every day. And until someone comes forward and tells us about them, we just don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, I think it's amazing that you've shared. Carmen said she has subscribed and will listen to your video as well. Thank you for sharing your experience with us.
Thank you for listening.
Yeah, the vintage community thanks you on those lights too. I'm so sorry. And I was meaning honestly to tell people like don't ship them priority mail because it was a flammable product. I think it was like class C or something under priority mail's restrictions. There were even restrictions about how you could ship it. It needed to be a ground service. And I don't think I ended up doing much of a service to the reselling community to say that those lights were dangerous. I ended up with some I had to sell. Where did I sell them? I sold them on Whatnot while you still could. You might still be able to. And shipped them, ground service. I sold one set on YouTube. Yeah. Yeah. Everyone.
Whatnot. Like, can you sell, like, I know they say like don't sell anything that is counterfeit, but like, can you sell Vero items on Whatnot? I haven't started Whatnot quite yet. I will this week, but I'm
To
not
my
familiar with
knowledge,
Whatnot.
I don't think that Whatnot has a Vero list. I've never seen anyone actively pursued for listing a lucrative brand on there. Now, that being said, I saw a seller do something super sketchy on Whatnot. They were selling some shorts that were Louis Vuitton, but they weren't. I want to say they were men's shorts. I don't know if they're supposed to be swim trunks or boxing shorts or what. A little while later, the live stream I tuned into, they were giving them away, and they were doing these giveaways, and they said, since we can't sell them on here anymore because they're fake. And I thought, you shouldn't be giving them away either. Like,
Yeah.
in my opinion, you should destroy a product like that because it's going to get in the hands of someone else that's going to sell it. If you get these Amazon liquidation or liquidation from anyone and it's wrapped in suspicious packaging, even because like I saw one seller selling Off-White in plastic wrap. And I'm thinking, I know Off-White is not folding their t-shirts and shipping them out in plastic wrap. So where my mom was asking earlier, how can you tell if these items are counterfeit? Pay special attention to the packaging as well. If it seems suspect, it's probably not worth your account or your 6 weeks. And it was just 6 weeks from the time that things really got kicked off. The
Yeah.
entire time that you spent on this was how long?
It was about start to finish 6.5 weeks before I was dismissed and I got my funds released. EB did release them quickly. Like once Gillette's attorneys emailed eBay and said she's dismissed, my funds were released within probably a half a day. But like I said, they didn't notify me they were releasing them. But I know that not everybody was released at the same time I was. So I don't know what happened to the people in the case after me. I know it did continue on longer. I don't know how long or anything about anybody else other than me and what happened with me.
I love what Christy just said. I was going to sell a fake Dolce & Gabbana cologne at my yard sale, but then I realized it could be toxic, so I just tossed it. We do have a service to people to remember that these products probably aren't safe. They're not manufactured under any regulations whatsoever. There's nothing preventing toxic chemicals or lead from being in them. And just assume that it's going to get into the hands of a child. And if you're okay selling it and you think that it's safe doing that, okay, but if not, yeah, it's probably best to just get rid of it. Well, do you have so I noticed you just put out a new video over on your channel. For everyone that's heading over and subscribing, what type of content can they look forward to from you on YouTube and moving forward?
Well, I'm still, I'm going to try and do some more videos of my thrifting adventures. And I do have a Goodwill bins near me. So maybe filming some in the Goodwill bins, some thrift hauls, and any educational content that I can think of that people might be interested in or might be able to benefit from. Not necessarily even in the reselling community, but just as an entrepreneur in general. That's kind of what I'm trying to put out there to the world.
That's awesome, because we all want to just be able to stay at home as much as possible, not because we don't like the world, but because we just love our families and we want to stay
Yes,
home.
and we need money.
Yes, and you have to have money to survive. So I'm subbed. I hope everyone else is subbed. Turn on those notifications. Tiffany, I hope that should time allow, I know you're a busy mom, but should time allow, I hope that we'll see you in some reseller chats soon. It's such a fun community. To anyone watching this in the replay that maybe you didn't tune into the live stream, there are so many great live shows in reselling. Every single week, you're going to find almost every day of the week, some reseller is live. I do want to do a quick shout out to one of I think the greatest masterminds in reselling is Scott the Cha-Ching King, and he is doing his first ever live on his channel tomorrow night, where he's going to give away a wireless Rollo printer. So if you don't have a printer, yes, Scott is the absolute eBay guru. If you need to know anything eBay, you look up his how-to videos. Scott Cha-Ching King is his YouTube, and we'll all be over there tomorrow night. It's Thursday night, Thursday, May 18th. If you're watching this past that, I'm sorry you missed it, but there's still time to sub to him as well. But again, thank you so much. We had so many people here learning, and I appreciate you guys being here. I don't see any additional questions, so I think that they're all just soaking in everything that you've told us. And yeah, well, Amanda just said, I've gotten several fake items in Amazon liquidation. I no longer source several places because of it. That's the biggest thing, guys, is we have to be careful where we're sourcing and keep sharing your knowledge and information with everybody. I appreciate you so much. Tiffany, hang out for just a second and while I end the broadcast. And thank you guys so much, everyone, for being here.
Thank you for watching.
Sub to Tiffany. Do it right now.